Welcome to the School of Love, the place where miracles are normal. Hello and welcome to my pre-recorded presentation within this virtual version of Cultural Typhoon, which takes place in September 2022. My presentation titled Towards a Phenomenology of Seduction, from Julia Kristeva's Sujet and Process to Anti-Shoujo, I shall explain in as detailed as it is possible the transition from a vision of the enlightened, empowered individual towards a humanity of self-aware and self-accepting citizens based on Julia Kristeva's theory of the processual subject, or as she calls it in French, Sujet and Process, as explained by Kristeva in her groundbreaking work from 1974, La Révolution du langage poétique, or in English, The Revolution of the Poetic Language. Based on the theory, I observed critically two television animation series from 2000s, which are taken as case studies. The first television animation series is Noir, which contained 26 episodes, was released by B-Train Studio in 2001 under the direction of Mashima Koichi. The second animation series was Emma, a Victorian romance, released in two acts, so-called acts, each containing 12 episodes, in 2005 and respectively 2007 by Piero Staggio under the direction of Kobayashi Tsuneo. The first case study, Noir, is a typical girls with guns genre or subgenre belonging to shonen genre, while Emma, a Victorian romance, is a typical shoujo animation series based on the comics of the same title. While Noir is a clear anti-establishment statement, Emma, a Victorian romance, returns emotionally to a safe space of acceptance and comfort. Accordingly, they either appeal to subliminal fears in the audience's unconscious, or speak of a distant world of healthy familiar predictability, setting new standards in approaching the target audiences and the reality in its most intimate convulsions and confusions. Thus, in opposition to seduction, defined as the combatant singularity aimed at individual fulfillment regardless of surrounding circumstances, human models of empowered femininity in correspondence to enlightened masculinity relate to individual identity in terms of love and peaceful togetherness. Love moves the sujet and process, Kristeva's processual subject, towards coping with an inherent reality instead of repressing. Love promotes acceptance instead of rejection. In doing so, fresh insights into one's own existence allow for increasing awareness of oneself and of the others in their unique otherness. One of Julia Kristeva's main contributions in creating her sujet and process, her processual subject, is in delivering the foundation of a system of poetic significance. From this perspective, Noir displays a fearful identity as the basis of aggressive femininity, while Emma, a Victorian romance, displays a concept of warm femininity in its quest for unconditional self-love. Love is, in Kristeva's conceptualization of the symbolic transformation of pre-pathetic repressions visible in arts and public expressions of creativity, the highest level of existential transcendence. Consequently, the consumerist strategies currently employed by mechanisms of mass entertainment turn out to be plain symptoms of a forever postponed confrontation with the individual reality, and not a sustainable solution in terms of personal fulfillment or social cohesion. In accordance with increasing awareness of toxic masculinity, its corresponding concept, toxic femininity, is phenomenologically addressed and situated in the context of late modernity as the historical ideological space, allowing for the emergence and spread of toxic humanity. Toxic humanity is a parallel development to Zygmunt Bauman's sociological observation of human waste, which encompasses those members of the human race apparently redundant, purely demographic statistics such as refugees, unemployable immigrants, and more recently, unemployable social elements of the lower class. Toxic humans refer in Bauman's interpretation of the social appearance to that category of the world's population doomed to live in unhappiness and misery for their entire lives, partly due to their social familiar background, partly due to their inability to overcome the preconditions of their birth and early childhood. Moreover, toxic humans are, according to sociological research so far, particularly likely both to multiply their own unhappiness and misery intergenerationally and to expand them in a rhizome-like network of bleak self-destruction. At its very essence, Julia Kristeva's sujet and process refers to the ability of the human being to overcome unconscious preconditioning and to take, gradually, control of one's existence. It moves in concentric circles, from the level of uncanny drives and convulsions through the thesis and into the symbolic world of thoughts, representations, and significances, as well as hierarchies of values. Kristeva identifies motherhood and the motherly core as the center of the individualization process, a place of recurrent returns. Conversely, the shoujo is an ambivalent structure, simultaneously anti and pro-establishment, playfully employing her sexual appeal in the pursuit of individual happiness, while promoting conventional practices of resistance, consumerism, and ambiguous sexuality. Noir and Emma, a Victorian romance, present credible versions of anti-shoujo within popular discourses of redefining femininity and masculinity, for that matter as well, in late modern Japan. They are, to be sure, controversial versions, critically addressing fears and obsessions which have been repressed, publicly and privately, for an indefinitely long time. While noir glorifies the unpredictability of life and its continuation as a playful endeavor, and an apocalypse as a destructive endeavor pursued by a savior, accompanied by a group of chosen ones to experience the teleological anticlimax as an ambivalent moral lesson, however not as punishment but as liberation. In Emma, a Victorian romance, the foreseeable plot is rather the precondition for creatively expressing the fascination towards the remote past as a repository of good old times. I reached the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening to me, and I'm looking forward for further conversation on the topic I have explored so far. Thank you very much, and I wish you a pleasant cultural typhoon ahead.